What if I told you, by age 30, one man conquered the known world, never lost a single battle, created an empire stretching 3,000 miles, and died at just 32 years old? This isn't fiction. This is Alexander the Great. And today, we're diving into Jacob Abbott's masterful biography that reveals the true story behind history's greatest military commander. Stick around, because what you're about to discover will change how you think about leadership, ambition, and legacy forever. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we break down the greatest books on history, leadership, and human achievement. Today's book, Alexander the Great by Jacob Abbott, part of Abbott's legendary Makers of History series. This isn't just another dry historical account. Abbott brings Alexander's story to life like no other. From his childhood education under Aristotle to his impossible conquests across Persia, Egypt, and India, to the tragic flaws that ultimately destroyed him. This book reveals both the genius and the darkness. Before we dive in, smash that like button if you're fascinated by military history. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we drop new book breakdowns every week. And comment below, what's your favorite historical figure? Let's get into it. Born in 356 BC in Macedonia, son of King Philip II. But Alexander wasn't satisfied living in his father's shadow. From a young age, he demonstrated relentless ambition. Jacob Abbott writes about Alexander's unique character. He possessed a certain combination of mental and personal attractions, qualities that give power in every age. At age 13, his father hired Aristotle as his tutor. Imagine that, the greatest philosopher teaching the future greatest conqueror. Aristotle taught him Greek literature and philosophy, science and medicine, ethics and politics. But Alexander's real education came from Homer's Iliad. He slept with it under his pillow, carried it on every campaign. Alexander saw himself as a new Achilles, destined for glory. At just 18 years old, he proved his military brilliance, helped win the Battle of Chaeronea, commanding cavalry against Greek city-states. Everyone knew this young man was different. But tragedy struck in 336 BC. King Philip was assassinated. Alexander became ruler of Macedonia at just 20 years old. Many considered him too young, too inexperienced. They were wrong. Drop a comment. Would you want that kind of power at 20?
334 BC. Alexander crossed the Hellespont, entered Asia with 35,000 men. His target? The Persian Empire, the world's superpower, led by King Darius III. Most would call this suicide. Alexander called it destiny. First major battle, the Granicus River. Alexander led the charge himself, nearly died multiple times, but won a stunning victory. Then came Issus in 333 BC. Darius had 100,000 men. Alexander had 40,000. The Persian king fled the battlefield, abandoned his own family. Alexander captured Darius's wife, mother, and children, treated them with respect. This wasn't just warfare. This was psychological dominance. But the crown jewel, the Battle of Gaugamela, 331 BC.
Darius assembled the largest army in history. Some say 250,000 men. War elephants, scythed chariots. Alexander? Still around 40,000. The night before battle, his generals begged him to attack at night. Alexander refused. "I will not steal victory," he said. He wanted to defeat Darius fair and square. And that's exactly what he did, using brilliant tactics, perfect timing, unmatched courage. Darius fled again. This time, never to return. The Persian Empire fell. Alexander was now master of Asia. If you're enjoying this, hit like right now. It helps the channel grow. Here's where the story gets dark.
Abbott doesn't hide Alexander's flaws. Success went to his head. He began to believe he was a god, adopted Persian customs, demanded his men bow before him. His closest friend, Hephaestion, died suddenly. Alexander's grief turned to rage. He executed innocent people, burned cities. The man who once showed mercy to Darius's family now murdered his oldest friends in drunken rages. Jacob Abbott writes, Alexander was a great man in everything but his character, which deteriorated in his later years. He pushed his army to the breaking point, marched into India, fought King Porus at the Battle of Hydaspes, another victory, but his men were exhausted, hadn't seen their families in 8 years. They mutinied, refused to go further. Alexander had to turn back. For the first time, he couldn't conquer his way forward. The journey home was brutal, lost thousands to desert heat, disease, starvation. Alexander himself was wounded multiple times, nearly died from a lung infection. He reached Babylon in 323 BC, planned new campaigns, dreamed of conquering Arabia, maybe even Rome. But fate had other plans. Subscribe if you want more content like this. We're just getting started. June 323 BC. Alexander attended a banquet, drank heavily, developed a fever. 10 days later, he was dead, just 32 years old. The man who conquered the world died a common death. No glorious battle, no heroic last stand, just illness. On his deathbed, his generals asked, "To whom do you leave your empire?" Alexander whispered, "To the strongest." Those words unleashed chaos. His empire immediately fractured. His generals fought each other for decades. Everything he built collapsed within years. Jacob Abbott's verdict is clear. Alexander gained the whole world, but lost his soul. The book reminds us of Jesus' words. What is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Alexander's story is both inspiring and tragic, a tale of unmatched ambition, brilliant strategy, but also unchecked ego and ultimate self-destruction. Pause and think about this. What would you have done differently? Comment below. I read every single one. Why read Jacob Abbott's Alexander the Great in 2026? Because leadership lessons are timeless. This book teaches 1. The power of vision. Alexander saw possibilities others couldn't imagine. 2. The importance of education. Aristotle's tutoring shaped his strategic mind. 3. Leading from the front. Alexander fought alongside his men. Never asked them to do what he wouldn't do. 4. The danger of hubris. Unchecked ambition destroys even the greatest. 5. Legacy versus character. What good is conquest without integrity? Abbott's writing style is perfect for modern readers. Clear, engaging, filled with dramatic moments. Reads like a Greek tragedy, because that's exactly what it is. Perfect for history buffs, military strategy enthusiasts, leaders and entrepreneurs, students, anyone fascinated by human potential. Here's my challenge to you. Read this book. Then ask yourself, what's your legacy going to be? If this video added value to your day, like this video right now. It takes 1 second. Helps the algorithm, helps us grow. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. We break down historical biographies, leadership books, military strategy, and stories of human achievement. New videos every week. Comment below. What did you think of Alexander's story? Genius or tyrant?
What book should we cover next? I read every comment, and I respond to as many as I can. Share this video with someone who loves history or needs leadership inspiration. Check the description for links to get Jacob Abbott's book. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and free on Project Gutenberg. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of this community. Remember, greatness isn't about conquest. It's about character. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing forward.
Watch next: The Life of Julius Caesar, Napoleon, Rise and Fall, Genghis Khan, the Greatest Conqueror. Subscribe for more.